Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar meets US counterpart Marco Rubio in Kuala Lumpur on sidelines of East Asia Summit. Talks focus on bilateral ties and global issues. 5 Pakistani soldiers killed in border clashes with Afghan forces, even as talks for cessation of hostilities continued in Turkey. India and China resume flight operations after a gap of 5 years. First direct flight from Kolkata lands in Guangzhou. Flights from New Delhi to Shanghai and Guangzhou to start in November. China and the US agree on the framework for a trade agreement, even as US President Donald Trump exudes confidence of working out a deal when he meets Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping later this week. Jamaica braces for Hurricane Melissa as residents stock up on supplies and board the windows. Category 4 Hurricane Melissa set to strengthen further as it hurtles towards Jamaica for Monday landfall. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar met US Secretary of State Marco Rubio this morning in Kuala Lumpur. The Indian minister appreciated the discussion on the bilateral ties as well as regional and global issues. This marks the 4th in-person meeting between Jaishankar and Rubio this year. Their last interaction took place in September on the sidelines of the 80th UN General Assembly UNGA session in New York. Jaishankar is in Kuala Lumpur to represent Prime Minister Narendra Modi at the 20th East Asia Summit. The East Asia Summit will provide an opportunity to deliberate on the challenges to peace, stability and prosperity in the Indo-Pacific region and also exchange views on regional and international developments. Apart from the ASEAN member states, East Asia Summit includes India, China, Japan, the Republic of Korea, Australia, New Zealand, the US and Russia. Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Sunday virtually delivered his remarks at the 22nd ASEAN-India Summit being held in Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia. The Prime Minister said, and I quote, "India and ASEAN together represent nearly 1/4 of world's population. We not only share geography, we are also bound by deep historical ties and shared values. We are companions in the global south. We are not only commercial partners but also cultural partners. ASEAN is a cornerstone of India's Act East policy. India has always fully supported ASEAN's centrality and ASEAN's outlook in the Indo-Pacific. Even in this era of uncertainties, India-ASEAN Comprehensive Strategic Partnership has continued to make steady progress. The theme of this year's ASEAN Summit is inclusivity and sustainability. This theme is clearly reflected in our joint efforts, whether it is digital inclusion or ensuring food security and resilient supply chains amid current global challenges. India fully supports these priorities and is committed to advancing them together. India has stood firmly with its ASEAN friends in every disaster. Our cooperation in HADR, maritime security and the blue economy is growing rapidly. In view of this, we are declaring 2026 as ASEAN-India Year of Maritime Cooperation. At the same time, we are steadily advancing our cooperation in education, tourism, science and technology, health, green energy and cybersecurity. We will continue to work together to preserve our shared cultural heritage and strengthen people-to-people ties. The 21st century is our century, the century of India and ASEAN. I'm confident that the ASEAN Community Vision 2045 and the goal of Viksit Bharat 2047 will build a bright future for all of humanity. India is committed to working shoulder to shoulder in this direction.
भारत हर आपदा में अपने आसियान मित्रों के साथ मजबूती से खड़ा रहा है। एचएडीआर, समुद्री सुरक्षा और ब्लू इकोनॉमी में हमारा सहयोग तेजी से बढ़ रहा है। इसको देखते हुए हम 2026 को आसियान इंडिया ईयर ऑफ मैरीटाइम कोऑपरेशन घोषित कर रहे हैं। साथ ही हम एजुकेशन, टूरिज्म, साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी, हेल्थ, ग्रीन एनर्जी और साइबर सिक्योरिटी में आपसी सहयोग को भी मजबूती से आगे बढ़ा रहे हैं। अपनी साझा सांस्कृतिक विरासत को संजोने और पीपल टू पीपल संबंधों को मजबूत करने के लिए हम साथ मिलकर काम करते रहेंगे।
India's Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal will begin his two-day Brussels visit from today, during which he will hold high-level discussions with Executive Vice President and European Commissioner for Trade of the European Union, Maros Sefcovic. The visit comes at a crucial stage in the ongoing India-EU free trade agreement negotiations, as both sides intensify efforts to conclude a comprehensive, balanced and mutually beneficial trade agreement at the earliest. Building on the momentum generated by the 14th round of negotiations held earlier this month, the minister's visit aims to provide strategic direction and political impetus to the talks. Discussions are expected to cover key areas of the proposed FTA, including market access, non-tariff measures and regulatory cooperation. The visit will also serve to review progress achieved so far and to identify areas requiring further convergence. New Delhi will host the 8th session of the International Solar Alliance Assembly from today at Bharat Mandapam. The 4-day event brings together the global community to deepen cooperation and accelerate solar adoption for a brighter and sustainable future. Representatives from 124 countries and over 40 Indian ministers will review progress, address challenges and align actions toward one vision: affordable solar energy for all. Significantly, President Draupadi Murmu will deliver the keynote address on Tuesday, highlighting India's commitment to global solar development through ISA. India has achieved 50% of its total installed electricity generation capacity from non-fossil fuel sources 5 years ago, ahead of its target. India is the world's third largest solar producer and world's second largest market for renewable energy. In all, the Solar Alliance will take forward the vision of Prime Minister Narendra Modi of harnessing the power of solar energy. Direct flights between India and China have officially resumed after a hiatus of over 5 years. The first flight took off on Sunday from Kolkata to Guangzhou, with private carrier Indigo now undertaking daily non-stop flights. While the Shanghai-New Delhi route will begin operations on November 9 with 3 flights every week. Indigo is among the first airlines to restart services following the COVID-19 suspension. These routes are expected to help rebuild trade, tourism and business ties that had been disrupted in recent years. October 27 marks the 79th Infantry Day, honouring the Queen of Battle, the most crucial fighting arm of the Indian Army. We salute the infantry's unwavering role in defending India's sovereignty from high-altitude borders to counter-terror operations.
On October 27th, we commemorate Infantry Day, honouring the Queen of Battle, the largest and most crucial fighting arm of the Indian Army. The day marks a unique historical turning point. October 27th, 1947. Just after the instrument of accession was signed, infantrymen were the first to land at Srinagar airfield. Led by the brave Lieutenant Colonel Diwan Ranjit Rai, they fiercely pushed back the Pakistan-backed tribal invaders who aimed to seize Srinagar. Lieutenant Colonel Rai was martyred near Baramulla, but his action saved the state. This operation was the first military action of independent India, setting the standard for courage, dedication, and sacrifice. As the nation commemorates the 79th Infantry Day in 2025, we salute the steadfast infantry for safeguarding India's sovereignty. Jai Hind.
Indian Army is renowned for its professionalism and secularism. Our correspondent Nandita Dagar visited a forward post along the LOC and filed this report on the ethos of the Indian Army.
This is the Nowshera sector of Jammu and Kashmir. We are at the LOC. This is the place which Brigadier Muhammad Usman of our army defended with his life. During the 1947-48 war with Pakistan, Mahavir Chakra Brigadier Muhammad Usman recaptured Jaishankar of Rajouri from the Pakistani army and defended Nowshera. That is why we refer to him as the Lion of Nowshera. But his mission is still being kept alive by our army troops who are stemming infiltration by terrorists from Pakistan and eliminating them. Today, these troops are armed with state-of-the-art technology.
ये नॉर्वे से ख़रीदा गया है और जो कि जैसे हम अम्बुश जाते हैं, पेट्रोलिंग जाते हैं, उससे पहले हम रास्ते को सैनिटाइज़ करते हैं, तो इसके द्वारा हम रास्ते को सैनिटाइज़ कर सकते हैं जिससे कि हमारे जो भी जवान हैं उनकी जान बच सके। ये इतना छोटा है कि जैसे आप दुश्मन इसको देख भी नहीं पाएगा और इसकी आवाज़ भी दुश्मन तक नहीं पहुंचेगी।
What is it that makes our army men put their lives in peril for the nation? Faith in a higher power is one such factor. A mandir or a temple parade being held at the rear headquarters of a battalion here at the LOC in Nowshera. And it's not just a temple parade because our army is an army which is very secular. It believes in all faiths and has soldiers from all faiths, all religions. It believes in Sarv Dharm Sambhav. Therefore, the Indian Army, apart from having a temple parade, also has a mosque parade or a masjid parade, also has a Gurudwara parade and a church parade. All festivals, Diwali, Eid, Guru Purab, are celebrated with equal fervor. Here at this forward post of a battalion in Nowshera at the LOC is a very special place. So much so that this forward post derives its name from the Khori Baba. It's known as the Khori Baba post. You can call it a Khori Baba Dargah or call it a Khori Baba Mandir, but this is the place the army troops converge in the mornings and evenings and they pray here. Khori Baba was a mortal man who lived here in 1947-48 when Pakistani raiders along with the Pakistani military tried to invade. Khori Baba was the one who gave shelter to the local villagers and he also gave it his best and countered the Pakistani military. Now the troops at this post very ardently believe that it was Khori Baba and his blessings that kept this post secure during the relentless artillery shelling and firing by the Pakistanis during Operation Sindoor, the first few days of Operation Sindoor. That's faith and you can't argue with faith. With camera person Dhiman at Nowshera at the LOC, this is Nandita Dagar for DD India.
And still to come on this edition of DD India Live. US President Trump heads to Japan on the second leg of his worldwide Asia tour. Red Cross and Egypt join search for bodies of deceased hostages in Gaza. Chhath Puja being celebrated with traditional fervor across several parts of India. Stay tuned to know more.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the economic brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
You're watching DD India Live. I am Siddharth Bharadwaj. Fresh clashes near the border with Afghanistan have killed at least 5 Pakistani soldiers, even as the delegations from both sides met in Istanbul to try to defuse tensions after the deadliest fighting in years. Afghanistan's Taliban government is yet to repost on the latest clashes, but has repeatedly rejected accusations of harboring armed fighters and instead accuses Pakistan of violating Afghan sovereignty with airstrikes. Meanwhile, delegations from both countries arrived in Istanbul, Turkey on Saturday for talks aimed at preventing a return to full-scale conflict. The meeting comes days after Qatar and Turkey brokered a ceasefire in Doha to halt the most serious border fighting since the Taliban takeover of Kabul in 2021. The violence earlier this month killed dozens and wounded hundreds. Top Chinese and US economic officials agreed on the framework for a trade agreement on Sunday, as US President Donald Trump said he was confident of hashing out a deal with Chinese President Xi Jinping when they meet in the coming days. US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and Trade Representative Jameson Greer met with Chinese Vice Premier He Lifeng and top trade negotiator Li Chenggang on the sidelines of the ASEAN summit in Kuala Lumpur for a fifth round of in-person discussions since May. Bessent said a deal had been agreed to avoid 100% US tariffs on Chinese goods and achieve a deferral of China's rare earths export controls. Bessent also said China will delay its expanded licensing regime for rare earths by a year and re-examine it.
So this was the fifth meeting that I've had with my Chinese counterpart, the Vice Premier, He Lifeng, and we covered a wide range of issues, and I think we've reached a substantial framework for the two leaders who will meet in Korea next Thursday. So, on the table, the president had given me maximum leverage when he threatened 100% tariffs if the Chinese imposed their rare earth global export controls. So I think we have averted that so that the tariffs will be averted. And we have a regular quarterly meeting with the Chinese.
Trump arrived in Malaysia on Sunday for a summit of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, his first stop in a 5-day Asia tour that is expected to culminate in a face-to-face with Xi in South Korea on October 30. After the talks, he struck a positive tone. Trump is due to land in the southern port city of Busan on Wednesday ahead of the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit and will meet South Korean President Lee Jae-myung. Trump is also expected to meet North Korean leader Kim Jong-un for the first time since 2019. US President Donald Trump will be on a 3-day visit to Japan from today for the second leg of the Asia tour. Trump will meet Japanese PM Sanai Takaichi, the country's first female prime minister, today. The meeting is considered a major diplomatic test for Takaichi, who assumed office on October 21. The two leaders are expected to focus on strengthening the Japan-US alliance and addressing key security concerns. In addition to meeting Takaichi, Trump is also scheduled to meet with Emperor Naruhito. Trump's stop in Tokyo follows his participation in the ASEAN Leaders Summit in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, as part of his 3-nation Asian tour. In a statement, Japan's foreign ministry said it sincerely welcomes the visit of President Trump, describing it as an ideal opportunity to reinforce bilateral cooperation and friendship between Japan and the United States. Moving on to West Asia, a group of Red Cross officials met with members of Hamas in Khan Yunis on Sunday to discuss how to locate the missing dead bodies of Israeli hostages believed to be in Rafah. It came after Israel permitted Red Cross and Egyptian teams to search for the bodies of deceased hostages beyond the yellow line that is demarcating the Israeli military's pullback in the Gaza Strip. This is a major reversal of a policy of barring entry to foreign forces by Israel. Israeli government spokesperson said that Israel will maintain overall security control in Gaza and said Israel remains extremely committed to upholding its side of the agreement, ensuring that Gaza will be demilitarized.
The Prime Minister has said, Joel, it's going to be done the easy way or the hard way, and Israel will have overall security control of the Gaza Strip. I'll point you back to the 20-point plan, which we continue to reiterate, which Israel remains extremely committed to as we have upheld our side of the agreement. Gaza will be demilitarized and Hamas will have no part in governing the Palestinian people.
As part of the ceasefire agreement, Hamas has said it will return all the hostages it abducted, but the remains of 13 are still in the enclave. They include 10 Israelis kidnapped during the attack on October 7, 2023 that triggered the conflict, one Israeli missing since 2014, a Thai and a Tanzanian worker. Hamas has already returned the remaining 20 living hostages and 15 bodies of hostages. But Hamas warns it will struggle to find the bodies of the others in the ruins of Gaza. Israel insisted on Sunday that it will maintain control of security inside Gaza despite signing up to a US brokered ceasefire that foresees the deployment of an international security force. The United States and allies have set up a truce monitoring center in southern Israel, the Civil Military Coordination Center, and dispatched a string of top officials from President Donald Trump's administration to promote the ceasefire. But Israel opposes any role for its regional rival Turkey. Israel has withdrawn its forces within Gaza to the Yellow Line but remains in control of more than half the territory, and it approves every UN aid convoy going through its borders and has carried out at least 2 strikes since the ceasefire. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu told ministers on Sunday that Israel would decide for itself where and when to strike its foes and which countries would be allowed to send troops to police the truce.
We control our own security, and we have made clear that in regard to international forces, Israel will determine which forces are unacceptable to us. And that is how we act and will continue to act. This is, of course, accepted by the United States as well, as its most senior representatives made clear in recent days. Israel is an independent state. We will defend ourselves by ourselves, and we will continue to control our fate.
Jamaica braces for Hurricane Melissa as residents stock up on supplies and board the windows. Hurricane Melissa has developed into a Category 4 hurricane and is expected to strengthen as it heads towards Jamaica. Authorities says Melissa is expected to bring 15 to 30 inches of rain to Jamaica and southern Hispaniola with a local maximum of up to 40 inches. Eastern Cuba is expected to receive 10 to 15 inches. Melissa, which was last tracked 180 kilometers south of Kingston and expected to make landfall in Jamaica Monday night or Tuesday morning, and hit southeastern Cuba late Tuesday. The NHC said Melissa is expected to bring 15 to 30 inches of rain to Jamaica and southern Hispaniola with a local maximum of up to 40 inches. Eastern Cuba is expected to receive 10 to 15 inches with local amounts of up to 20 inches. Chhath Puja, the festival of faith, discipline and devotion, is being celebrated with traditional fervor across several parts of India, especially in Bihar, Jharkhand, eastern Uttar Pradesh and Delhi. Devotees are offering prayers to the setting and rising sun, expressing gratitude for life and nature's abundance.
The festival of Chhath Puja paints the ghats and the riverbanks with hues of faith and devotion. Dressed in traditional attire, devotees gather at water bodies to offer arghya to the setting sun, thanking Lord Sun for bestowing life, energy and prosperity. Celebrated over 4 days, the ritual of Nahai Khai, Kharna, Sandhya Arghya and Usha Arghya symbolizes purification, fasting and surrender to the divine. Women devotees observe rigorous fasting, standing in water for hours, praying for the well-being of their families. From Patna's Ganga Ghats to Delhi's Yamuna banks and housing societies across metropolitan cities, the spirit of Chhath transcends regions, uniting communities in a shared reverence for nature. Chhath Puja has turned into a global celebration from India to the shores of abroad, where devotees worldwide unite in prayers to the setting and rising sun, celebrating faith, purity and the eternal bond with nature. The festival also underscores India's deep ecological connect, worshipping the sun, water and earth, reflecting a balance between spirituality and sustainability. Chhath Puja once again reminds us of India's timeless cultural harmony and enduring faith. A festival where devotion meets discipline, Chhath Puja continues to inspire millions through its message of gratitude and harmony with nature. Kriti Vadhera's report for DD India.
That's all for this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms, and you can scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.